Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision either by fear or by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use in our directives for the common good, and for thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik,
Present.
Commissioner Regovich, and Commissioner Hammercheck.
I am here. Very good. All right. We have before us the meeting minutes of the regular meetings of May 11, 2023, May 18, 2023, and June 8, 2023. Can I have a motion to approve same, waiving the reading thereof?
Move to approve.
And I will second that. Any additions or corrections? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes. All right. This brings us to our first public comment portion of our meeting. Yes, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. Nice to see you again. Sorry I missed last week. Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, or on behalf of Lobbyists for Citizens. The issue I have deals with the resolution dated June 15th. It's concerning the $638,000 grant to Lake Tran for the Medicaid clients. And I did go to the Lake Tran board meeting, and I asked, well, how much do they really charge for each ride? And it's $35 per ride. So I did some simple math on the $638,000. That comes out to about 50 riders, Medicaid riders per day. And I was just wondering, does that make sense? Do we keep track of how many people, Medicaid participants, are using that service? I'd like to know, is it 50 riders or 18,250 a year? I'm just wondering if we keep track of that, because it's a lot of money for Lake Tran.
Do you want to comment?
Sure, I'd be happy to comment.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, the Department of Job and Family Services does track how many Medicaid riders utilizes that transportation system.
Is this, may I speak directly to?
Take the middleman out, you're good.
Okay, may I ask, this has been a 10-year program? This is not just the first year for the program, is that correct?
Correct, not the first year.
So could I ask for a records request, public records request, asking for a breakdown of how many people have utilized the service? I really would like to know, is whether it's state or federal money, I know it's not local money, but I still would like to know, are we really benefiting, and do we have 50 clients a day utilizing that service? So if you could give me 3 years worth of that, so we can determine whether or not it is financially sound.
Sure, and I would add that it is federal dollars that come into the county, and that does pass through, Job and Family Services passes through those dollars to Lake Tran.
You understand. Thank you very much. Oh, there is one other thing while I'm on Lake Tran.
Yes.
I did ask Ben Capel and Brian Falkowski, several questions, and I wrote an article about it showing they responded. Ben always responds very quickly. But I'm concerned about the I think it's an STS program that they have, where they have actually gone on record and to say that their green transportation goal is to remove cars from Lake County. So the ultimate goal is to get us all either on bikes or using public transportation. That's what I infer from that policy, and that's concerning to me. The other thing is, several months ago, I did go attend a Lake Tran meeting, and I asked them, since they're showing, I think it was $59 million in cash, do they really need that 0.25% sales tax? I said, how much cash do you need to operate this place? And I was told by Mr. Falkowski that their attorney, Brandon Dines, has contacted the Attorney General to see if they can actually rescind that sales tax. I thought that was an automatic, but they're saying that they're asking the Attorney General for advice on that. I'm just keeping you informed on it.
Gotcha, to be determined. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Quick question, Suzanne. Do we get, on going back to that first question, do we get billed for no-shows? If somebody's a no-show, does that still get billed to us?
I don't believe so,
Okay.
but I
That
don't
was
want to
just-
say
yeah,
for sure.
that was just one of those things while we're talking, it kind of popped into my mind of, are these actual riders or if somebody's a no-show, does that get charged? Or is
I
there
don't
some?
believe so, but let me double check on that.
Yeah, it's just, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Massey. Anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Okay, we actually do have a certificate that I would like to present. Commissioner Pleshek, do you mind, or do you want me to?
Mr. President, with your permission,
Of course, sir.
the Board of Lake County Commissioners, in appreciation of Forbes House, issue a certificate of recognition on July 13th, 2023, whereas the Board of Commissioners thank Forbes House for their compassion and for always going above and beyond the call of duty, and whereas Forbes House strives to empower individuals and families to end the cycle of domestic violence. They aim to help victims thrive and provide resources through education and advocacy. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners in and for Lake County, wish Forbes House many years of offering renewed hope and loving support to those individuals and families beginning their new journey into a better life. Signed, John Hamercheck, Richard Regovich, and John Plechnik.
Thank you, sir. And we have our Executive Director for Forbes House, and I believe one of your board members present here.
Yes.
Do you mind
Thank you so much.
coming on up? And it's always a pleasure to have you under.
Yes, do you want
Nice
us to
friendly
make a
conditions.
statement? You just, thank you so much. We're very, obviously.
Surprise.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm Kathy Strankar, Executive Director of Forbes House.
And Jim Levine, Vice Chair of the Board of the Trustees of Forbes House. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It means a lot to us and for the survivors that we serve.
Gotcha.
Obviously, we're grateful.
And if we may present to you, thank you.
Sure.
Do you mind? John? All these tall people, I gotta stand up straight here.
One more.
This one's the official one.
Congratulations.
Okay, and just to confirm, no one else wishing to address the board during the first public comment? All right, moving on to the first agenda item. Madam Clerk.
In the Utilities Department, resolution increasing appropriations in the Lake County Department of Utilities Sewer Fund.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hamercheck?
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of an engineering agreement with the GPD Group Incorporated for the Vine Street Waterline Replacement Phase 3 Route 91 to Route 2 Project 467W 2023 for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion. Randy, if you want to give a little background on that one, that's a pretty good sized project.
It is. This is part of our capital improvement plan for this year, 2023. Be constructed ideally in early 2024. This will complete the Vine Street waterline replacement from Lakeshore Boulevard all the way to the freeway. So we're looking forward to having that section with all brand new pipe.
Excellent, excellent. Further discussion? Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution awarding a bid contract in the amount of $698,712 to Davis Diggers for the East 357th Street Waterline Replacement Project, 459W 2022.
Move to approve.
Second. Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
In Job and Family Services, a resolution approving the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services voucher, date of warrant, July 21st, 2023, in the amount of $544,236.61.
Move to approve.
Second. Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution accepting the fiscal year 2022 Emergency Operations Center Grant Program in the amount of $1 million effective through June 30th, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second. Discussion? Joe, Jason, you want to share a little bit on this one? This is all good stuff. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. What you have before you is a culmination of nearly 4 years of work by the EMA staff and many other individuals, including yourself, Commissioner Hammercheck. In 2019, then board and you invited Congressman Joyce, who came out and visited the EOC. We explained some needs we had for our nearly 40, or at that time, 31-year-old building, I think it was. Over the next 4 years, we garnered support from Senator Brown and others. EMA staff wrote numerous documents, submitted the final grant application when the 4-year 2022 EOC grant was awarded through the Department of Homeland Security. We completed then many additional documents, historical preservation, submitted that. I'd like to thank County Minister Jason for taking the time to review everything before we sent it in. Well, after all that hard work, you have now $1 million grant being awarded to the EOC. That grant's going to improve exterior lighting and security first. We're going to put a second. We have a second gate that's a manual gate. We're going to now make that a powered gate, so if dispatch had failure of one gate, they could let people onto the premises. We're also going to put some security cameras, and that's the exterior. The doors are very rusted. In fact, some are becoming difficult to open now. We're going to replace all the exterior doors. Interior improvements are going to be LED lighting throughout, one to save electrical costs. We're also doing exterior lighting at the same time with LED lighting. We're doing many other cosmetic type changes in the interior. We're making it COVID lessons. We're going to touchless. The main entrance is going to be a touchless powered door. And then we're also going to do an upgrade to the kitchen, just because it's 40 years old and we don't even have a dishwasher, and we thought that would be better for getting rid of the bacteria within the facility when some people do get sick. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, and I'm very proud that we were able to achieve this as a group.
Excellent, excellent. No, I just by way of background, I have to emphasize what a pleasure it was working with Congressman Joyce as a prosecutor, as someone who works with public safety in his career, and now representing us as a congressman. I don't want to say it was an easy sell, but by golly, it's a pleasure when somebody actually understands the technical side of things. Mm-hmm. And showing him what it is our mission is to the people of Lake County, and the technology that's supporting that, and how frail some of it was. We've been doing continuous improvements all along, but this is going to make a huge difference going forward. I know we've looked at replacing the facility, but under our current financial priorities, that's a down the road thing. Mm-hmm. But Congressman Joyce is making it possible for us to get some more years of good, solid life and service out of this facility. We do owe him a tremendous thanks, and I know Congressman Joyce is a friend of yours, Commissioner, so if you want to add to that, sir.
Mr. President, I would just say Lake County is very grateful to Congressman Dave Joyce for zealously representing us, and this $1 million grant to the EMA is going to improve safety for years to come. So we're very grateful for your efforts, for the efforts of your staff and partnering with the congressman and making this a reality. Ultimately, we can't afford to burden local taxpayers with every expense, so reaching out, aggressively getting grants and support, that's what it's all about. And your staff is to be commended for working with Congressman Joyce to bring $1 million back to the taxpayer.
Thank you. I'll pass that along.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plachnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution authorizing the President of the Lake County Board of Commissioners to execute an agreement between the Lake County Board of Commissioners and Forbes House for funds received from the U.S. Department of Treasury under the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, known as the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Move to approve.
Second, and discussion. Jason.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah, the resolution in front of you is a culmination of a lot of work on behalf of the Forbes House and their board over the past few years, working on a number of projects and priorities that they have to preserve and enhance their mission. It's been a pleasure working with Kathy and her board, et cetera, to find I think the best funding path for them. And the resolution today is the ARPA funding that I've presented a number of projects. A lot of the same eligibility as CDBG, but has a longer window as far as construction, et cetera. Kathy and I have had some meetings over the past few weeks, and I presented my internal review to our outside bond counsel, received her approval last week, provided the documentation for commissioners last week, and it's in front of you today for your approval, and I'll be excited to get started working with Forbes House at their leisure.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Flushing, anything you want to add, sir?
Mr. President, I would just say that this grant of ARP funding reflects the strong support that Lake County has for Forbes House. We recognize the need to have services to those impacted by domestic violence, and in particular the need to have a shelter in our community. It's not enough to have great shelters in neighboring counties and other areas. A county the size of Lake with the needs that we have, really, Forbes House is a necessity, not a bonus. And this investment in Forbes House reflects the fact that it is a necessity for victims and families in our community.
Well said, sir. And if I could just add to that and amplify it, Forbes House has been making continuous improvement over the years, and this will give them advantages to focus on the things that they do best. And we've made sure there's adequate funding here so that they can bring in outside professionals to help them with management and project management and things that may not be in their normal wheelhouse, but we're going to make sure they've got the opportunities to be successful and consider the vulnerable part of our society, and it's a very real issue that they serve so commendably and have done faithfully for so many years. We are blessed to have them serving our county, and they are truly worth the investment. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Jason.
Thank you.
Your efforts in this have not gone unnoticed. I personally truly appreciate all you've done, sir. All right, and our friends from Forbes House, I'm sure you'll just be happy to hear us vote on this, right? Anything you want to add? Are you good?
Yeah, I mean, I can wait till after.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. All right, before I screw this up, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plachnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes, thank you.
Resolution authorizing the county to participate in the Master Cooperative Purchasing Agreement with the Cooperative Council of Governments and Equalis Group through the CCAO. I'm sorry, no, that's right. And executing a contract with Garland DBS Incorporated for 20 Park Place building roof replacement in an amount not to exceed $517,786.
Move to approve.
Second, and discussion. If anybody ever wonders, it is not easy reading all of these headers. that all of these documents condense down into. So thank you, ma'am, and don't be shy of one little stumble, you're fine. Jason, did you want to add? Oh, okay, it's pretty plain, and what it says is what it does. Sir?
Yeah, I might as well, I should have stayed up here, sorry. Yeah, this is a resolution this is a cooperative purchasing agreement that's been very beneficial to the county the past number of years. Mark Eiffelise in Buildings and Grounds capitalizes on this with a number of roofs under our portfolio. This is a facility we acquired last year for long-term storage, et cetera, and some other critical needs we have in the county. And with some of the momentum we have in pricing, we decided to execute this, hopefully execute this, and knock this off of our capital list in 2023, as we have some other roofs that'll be coming your direction probably in the third quarter of this year.
Gotcha. And just for those who may be interested, CCAO is the County Commissioners Association of Ohio.
Yep.
Just in case anybody's wondering what all these letters mean.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plutchnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $4,144,166.16.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion, none being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plutchnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $2,063,663.38.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion, none being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plutchnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion, none being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plutchnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion, none being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Ah,
Commissioner
whatever.
Plutchnik?
Yes.
We're there.
All right.
We all need more coffee, apparently.
I think so. Resolution adopting the annual tax budget for the year ending December 31st, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second, discussion?
Mr. President,
Sir.
I would just share for those in attendance or watching that the tax budget is not actually the means by which we expend funds. We're simply explaining the need for the taxes that the county collects to higher budgetary authorities. It is not a matter of expending money, and the real budget, so to speak, the monies that we actually spend and save, will usually differ to some extent from the tax budget. So for those who say, I disagree with this or that line item, these are estimates that simply demonstrate the need for the revenue the county collects.
Well said, sir. Thank you. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plutchnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes. All right, moving on to departmental reports, utilities.
No report today, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Job and Family Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. I wanted to share this morning that Job and Family Services and Lake County Family and Children First Council are hard at work preparing for the Lake County Back to School Bash, which is coming up soon. That's going to be on Saturday, August 5th at Harvey High School in Painesville. We will serve all children and their families that reside in Lake County. That event begins at 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. and we offer a variety of services to get children ready to start the school year off in success. There will be backpacks donated by the Salvation Army, full of school supplies, and a variety of other services at Harvey that day. So we're really looking forward to it and wanted to remind the public that that event is coming up. Thank you.
Exciting time. Thank you, ma'am. All right, County Administrator Jason, anything additional?
Nope.
Indicating none. Thank you, sir. Moving on, Madam Clerk.
I think we shouldn't let Jen go on vacation anymore. And our next meeting will be July 20th, next Thursday,
Should we mention she's up a creek with a paddle?
with a paddle and a kayak.
She loves kayaking. There you go. So, anyway, legal, please
No
save us.
report.
Usually I'm asking the clerk to save us. It's up to you, sir.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to old business. Do we have any old business coming to the board? Any old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. New business? Again, hearing none. Thank you. Our second public portion. Forbes House, did you want to say anything, or? There's that very polite elbow. That was very good, sir.
Absolutely. Again, Executive Director of Forbes House, Kathy Strankar. Do I have to say my address? 2594 Dodd Road, Willoughby Hills, Ohio, 44094. Obviously, I come to you today with heartfelt gratitude and appreciation for on behalf of survivors of domestic violence, intimate partner violence. Support awarded by you through the American Rescue Plan Act to renovate our shelter and continue to be a safe haven for those affected by domestic violence, creating an environment of hope, healing, and empowerment is appreciated beyond words. Commissioners Hamercheck, Commissioner Plechnik, Commissioner Regovich, your personal dedication to address critical issues and your commitment to ensure a safe community is commendable. The provision of funds for shelter renovations showcases your unwavering support for survivors and your understanding of the long-lasting impact such facilities can have to save lives. To the tenacious team of County Administrator Jason Boyd and the Lake County Development and Planning Committee office, namely Rhea Benton, Dave Verdacci, and Marion Norman, your diligent work and wisdom are impressive and pale only in comparison to the care that you have for this community. Your support has made it possible to offer a lifeline to those in need. Together, we are not only providing a safe place to stay, but also instilling hope, empowering survivors to rebuild their lives, and breaking the cycle of violence for generations to come. For the survivors that we serve, this is a moment of triumph and renewal. We are inspired daily by the courage and resilience that they exhibit in the face of adversity. Their strength fuels our determination to create a community where no one has to live in fear, and every person is treated with dignity and respect. The commitment of funds to renovate Forbes House sends a clear message to survivors that they are valued and that there is support and love waiting for those who seek it. With your support, we have a safe space that not only that not only provides shelter, but also offers comprehensive services, counseling, and resources to survivors and their families. Thank you all for the steadfast commitment that you have made and generous contribution and compassion to change lives and build a brighter and safer future for all.
Kathy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do, and thank you for the professionalism of your board. It is truly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
Again, Jim Levine, Vice Chair of the Board of Forbes House. I can't add much to what Kathy said, but I do want to thank the commissioners and the people behind the scenes, in particular Jason and Rhea, for finding the best solution to fund the Forbes House renovation. The survivors will, in the future, be in a place that's much more pleasant and help them move forward with what they need to have successful lives. So I really want to thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And again, specific to the board, thank you for your professionalism and the service that you perform to the mission of Forbes House. Thank you. All right. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Mr. Massey.
Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, on behalf of Lobbyists for Citizens. Two items. First one, again, I'll go back to Lake Tran and Geauga Transit. I am getting the distinct impression that I've been told that Geauga Transit no longer really exists. It ceased to exist, but Ben Capel has he said that that's not necessarily true, that it's only, I believe, a 5-year agreement that they have. But when I see possible mergers between the public transportation, and I see what's going on in with the Board of Mental Health, I just wonder if down the road there is a possible merger. I understand Geauga and Lake County used to be, one county, but has there been any discussion at all about a possible merger again with Geauga and Lake, so there's just one county?
I assure you, we have not done a hostile takeover of Geauga County. And the forces that were massing on the border are purely as
Purely,
for
okay.
defensive purposes.
Okay, well, I just want to mention that it's out there in
The Nike
the...
site, I assure you, we have not rearmed the Nike sites. I should say sites plural, because Lake County
Great.
had multiple Nike sites.
So noted. I appreciate that very much. Moving on
I
to...
believe it was Nike Hercules, which was the big ones.
Well, I'll be back hopefully in 5
I'm
years.
seeing a veteran shaking his head and nodding, yes, sir. Thank you.
The second issue is I wanted to update the commissioners on my mission of this obscene material in our public schools. Again, remember Ohio Revised Code 2907321. It is illegal to pander obscenity to minors. I did reach out to the Attorney General, Mr. Dave Yost. I heard from his constituent liaison, and they basically brushed it off and said, well, you got to go back to the school board. That's not good enough for me. And since Mr. Yost did not, write or sign the letter, I have gone back to the constituent liaison, and I've asked him to have Attorney General Yost to sign that letter so that we know that the Attorney General has seen our complaint and he dismisses the complaint. That's important to us because we need to know who's going to protect our children. I did attend a mentor school board meeting. Yes.
Before you move on, just so I personally can understand this, you say dismissed, or did he refer it back to the local prosecutor, the local school board? What was the
The letter from the constituent liaison was Logan Fry, I believe was his name, that what I should do is I should go to the local authorities, I should go to the school board, to the superintendent, and it certainly was, I inferred that the Attorney General for the state of Ohio has either no jurisdiction or wants nothing to do with the issue itself. But that's why I wanted to see Attorney General Dave Yost's signature on the letter so that I'm not inferring incorrectly, and I want to make sure that he himself weighs in on that particular issue. It's a very important issue for a lot of people in Lake County. Did that answer your question?
It did, and my interpretation, without having benefit actually reading it, what I'm hearing is, and legal, if my interpretation varies from what yours may be, it sounds like they're referring you back to the authority having jurisdiction closest to the source of the event. So rather than them dealing with something on high, they're wanting to talk to the local school, talk to the local prosecutor, talk to the local law enforcement. It sounds like there's a process that needs to be followed.
Unfortunately, this issue is statewide. It's not my issue is that I'm focusing because I want to see what everybody has, because I'm focusing on a particular book and a particular school district. I did attend the mentor school board last night, I believe it was, and the superintendent, Heath, did acknowledge that he received a complaint from the Mentor Police Department, and they did say that they are going to take up that issue later in August when the teachers return. Again, I'm trying to get the state officials involved. I've also communicated with Representative Dan Troy, Representative Jamie Callender, and State Senator Jerry Serino. I'd like them to weigh in on this particular subject to see if there's any concern or if there's anything that they can do legislatively that protects our children. To date, I have not heard from Troy, Serino, and Callender, but I will keep the commissioners appraised of, like I said, it's a line in the sand issue for me. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, and I just in the interest of clarity, people wonder, well, why does the Board of Commissioners even care? Well, for the very reason you just stated, this is more than just a local issue. This is more than just one school district. There are examples throughout the state. Over the last several months, you did give us examples from other parts of the state, but we obviously can't pursue our local school boards because of something happening in another part of the state. But at a recent meeting, you did give us an example right here in Lake County that clearly depicted incest and rape, and it was being defended in terms of, well, the author is award-winning and highly acclaimed. That doesn't excuse something that is, well, I think Commissioner Pleshnik said it best. You know it when you see it.
Yeah, and I recognize that the commissioners are not able to really initiate any action that, solves the issue. I'm just using this as a platform to let you know that we're working on it.
Yep, talk it through, because we clearly do have an interest. Commissioner, anything you want to add, sir?
I would just say it's my sincere hope that school board members who are hearing the louder and louder public outcry will ask, number one, why are our constituents so concerned? And sincerely address the issue. And number two, refocus their attention from controversial political fights and trying to take a side to what is in the best interest of the children, to making sure that every dollar is spent for maximum impact for their benefit, to increase the literacy rate and the practical skills that these kids need to succeed, to stop trying to take what you perceive to be your preordained role in the culture wars and say, this is supposed to be about the kids. I sincerely hope that that's the net result of this, and I think that most elected officials, regardless of the role they're in, do a better job when they listen a little harder. And we all can do that. We all can do that.
And I appreciate tremendously, Commissioner. It's what we are pushing. It's academics, not ideology. Thank you very much.
I completely agree. I recognize that folks who disagree sometimes reflexively say, well, I'm on this team, you're on team red, I'm on team blue, and they just fight back. I'm saying we need to counter that instinct to just fight back and ask, why are so many parents and families concerned?
Yeah. It's all about the protecting Ohio's children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, anyone else wishes, ma'am?
Gilda Spencer, 5580 Ford Road, Madison. Hi, gentlemen. I missed last meeting, so I'm checking up to find out if you know anything more on my road. I called the engineer's office, and Tracy wasn't in, so I never heard anything back. So I'm just wondering, are we moving along? The other gentleman said that he was going to be making an announcement in a couple of weeks, so I'm here. Do we have an announcement?
Yeah, Rich isn't in today. I think it's safe to say that the three commissioners agree that roads and bridges are a priority, that they need to be addressed, and we are still working on a mutually agreeable way to assist our engineer in funding that. That structure has not been finalized, but we have I think a strong model coming together. Anything you want to add, sir? Or did that kind
Mr.
of
President, I would just say I think once again the fair statement is we're very close to a solution, and a solution that won't just handle your particular road, but will ensure that the engineer never again finds the office in the position that it has to come to the commissioners and announce that they're out of money. We have to make sure this never happens to residents again. We want to address your specific problem, but I don't want another street to suffer the same fate. And so I think we're close to that, but these are not easy things. I mean, frankly, when you reach a situation where a problem has been left unaddressed for a decade, it's not going to be solved in a week. And so we're all kind of coming to this with a degree of chagrin and saying, wow, I can't believe that this was allowed to get this far. But I think we're very close to addressing your personal situation, and I would add, equally important, making sure it does not happen again, because it was unacceptable the way your street was treated.
Okay, I understand that. My concern in all this, it's been a year, so I get that. But Blair Hill is now almost compromised. If they close Blair Hill, where am I going to go? I might as well live on an island and stay there and go by boat. So, okay, thank you very much.
Ma'am, thank you. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board? Sir? Welcome. If you could leave your name and address for the record.
5614 Ford Road, Madison.
Gotcha. And your name, sir?
Good morning. Pardon me?
And your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris Cameray.
Thank you.
So, in regards of Ford Road, again, I was at the town meeting, the Madison Township meeting the other day, and they said we should come here and speak if we had anything to say, but I think we found a lot of information through there. And then what she said also, I was trying to like maybe propose something because of the fact that I have 3 kids and they're all under 5. So they're going to and from school. Well, we had a semi-truck got stuck in a ditch, and my son, my 5-year-old son, was stuck at school for an hour and a half because there was no way around, which me, that's unacceptable. Okay, we're like she said, we're kind of stranded, especially with Blair Road. I mean, we have to take a detour of a road that has been demolished. Taylor Road is just a disaster. But if we could open up, I know the north side of Ford Road, the hill, is, I guess, compromised. If we could possibly open one lane on the south side, so, you know, the direction going east, if we could open one lane up with, you know, one of the stoplight or whatever, those portable stoplights or stop sign or whatever at the bottom, just so we have a way out. Because right now, I mean, it's a 12-minute detour. It's, I think, 8 miles. But, I mean, besides the fact of it just being an inconvenience, it's now becoming a financial burden because of, you know, I mean, as far as it goes, it's like I leased my wife's vehicle. Now I'm spending, I mean, we're going on 2 years, so that's 12,000 miles a year that we're going over extra. I mean, it's not your guys' problem, but it's just, you know, it's just going back that far. So I mean, we could do something similar to that, and even a safety concern, and because we're calling for, you know, for fire department, they want Perry to come or they want Leroy to come. Well, that's a good distance away, and especially right now, since Perry, they have 4 railroad crossings being worked on and closed. So now they got to come, God, they got to go all the way to 528 and come back River Road. That is, I mean, don't come. The house is going to be gone. If somebody maybe could look into that or somehow address something. There just needs to be some other way out. I mean, I'm right there at the top of the hill, so it is like a huge detour, and it's just for safety matters. It's just I feel like it's unacceptable because we're stranded there.
Understood. And
I know you guys are doing what you can, but
well, I can tell you that I know that our engineers office they're looking at all options.
Right.
The temporary portable traffic control devices, that's been a topic of discussion. But from an engineering perspective, being able to reestablish one lane on a compromised bridge, it's problematic in and of itself.
Right.
The dead load, live load issues, it becomes a challenge. I'm sorry that our engineer is not here to be able to more directly address. I'm kind of giving you what I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But please keep coming to meetings, keep voicing your concerns.
Okay.
These are the kinds of things that we respond to. So
Okay.
it is very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board? Ma'am.
Tammy Gaber, 6023 Ford Road. We're going to add to the list. I've been here before. I just dropped my county tax payment off to pay your salary. And I have to tell you that I'm a little disconcerted that our section of Ford Road does not seem to be addressed. I understand you're working on a long-term solution, so this doesn't happen in the big picture again. That does need to happen, but that is not what is immediately in need. You can do that in the background while you're fixing what is immediately in need. You don't have to put a 10-year plan in place to fix what's immediately in need. You can do that. I've worked on those committees before. I know that that is done. We address what's immediately in need while we're working on future plans. And it's even been mentioned by somebody that this is a political football. We're not a political football. And we're tired of being a political football. We need this fixed. You've heard these guys. The school is now looking at trying to get a van to run their children to school. Our school system that does not need to spend money on additional vans when they can put that money somewhere else so they can run our kids to school. And they're getting paid by the state to reimburse for their gas. The state doesn't need to be spending money to pay these people to run their kids to school. That money could go somewhere else where it's much more needed. So I get the plan, I get the ideas. We paid your salary this quarter, so let's get a solution done. And I think you said that the budget is a guideline. Well, for weeks we've been hearing, it's not in the budget, it's not in the budget, so we can't do it. The budget is a guideline. Your lips. The budget is a guideline. So the money is around. Let's put it in and fix the road.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone? Sir.
Good morning. Tim Ruff, 5586 Ford Road. I guess we have the same issues as the rest of our neighbors here. And the biggest thing, I guess, is the safety issue. We've got some elderly neighbors. If something unfortunately does happen, then it could be a lot worse because they don't have access. Noticed they spent a lot of time digging the ditches out in front of our homes this week, and they kind of created a worse problem, especially in front of my home. And I called the engineer's office with really no response. So it looked like they, possibly could have used those funds on the road repair or the bridge repair. So, but the same concerns as the rest of my neighbors on Ford Road. I'm right at the east end of the west end, I'm sorry, of the road. So not so much an inconvenience, although it is very inconvenient to make your way to Madison to spend your money there. We're going elsewhere, to Mentor or Willoughby, and have the same concerns as the rest of my neighbors. But appreciate your concern and your attention, whatever you can do. Thank you.
Sir.
Thanks.
I'll try to address your question regarding ditching. I believe, and I'm going to look to Jason if I say something that doesn't ring true. Stormwater management, the ditching and maintenance, that is in addition to roads and bridges. So many of the activities of the engineer's office do continue, even though we're trying to get this issue resolved. You will be seeing ongoing activities from the engineers. They're not stopping everything, waiting for. They're doing everything as best they can. So
I get it. Just seems like the monies could be more well spent elsewhere than.
Understood.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Mr. President,
sir,
if I could just add, it's really important to understand how the county and the engineer's office operates. Ultimately, just as the county prosecutor is an independent elected official and decides who to charge and who to investigate with no input from the county commissioners, the county engineer decides which roads to open and close, which bridge to repair first. They have a budget from the state that they have complete control over. They decide whether to dig the ditch or to close the road or to repair. You're right that budgets are guidelines. I was referring to the tax budget, which actually does not authorize the expenditure of any money. It's simply a requirement by law to continue to collect the tax revenues. That's not the same as the actual budget, and that was what I was referring to. But we cannot command the engineer to open or close a road or half a road. We can only work with them. And I know that it's very easy to say, well, if the commissioners could just, or the township trustees could just, or the state legislature could just give me $16 million. If I had an unlimited budget, I would do everything all at once. That will never be the case. There will never be an unlimited budget. And so the county engineer has a very important role in that with the limited money he does receive, he has to decide what his priorities are. And we as commissioners certainly can lobby and push. We can help in the process of grants, and if there is any extra money in the county, we can reallocate some. But we have to recognize that just as the county prosecutor makes the decision who to investigate, who to charge, and commissioners can't command him, neither can we command the county engineer. And that's not an attempt to pass the buck, but I see how greatly this issue has impacted residents, and you deserve to know who the decider is, because even if all three commissioners right now said, that's a great idea, let's reopen half the road, even if we voted to right now, the engineer has the legal authority to say that is imprudent and I will not do so. It is ultimately the engineer's office's decision. Now, this is the right place to have this conversation because there aren't engineers' meetings. So it's not as though you can go to the county engineer's meeting and express these concerns. This is the best place to get your concern to him, and we will certainly make him aware of all the comments and suggestions that have been made. If the engineer wanted to reallocate his over $10 million budget today and just repave Ford Road, he could do it. Now, he's expressed that he has other priorities and needs and salaries and payroll, and that he can't do that. At least in his view, it wouldn't be wise. But he is really the person who makes that decision. As commissioners, we have two roles. We can share the public's concerns with him and push him to do what we think is right. We can suggest, we cannot command, and we can also assist in looking for more money. And as I've discussed through many of these meetings, ultimately what's going to happen is there is going to have to be a bond to pay for these expenses because there's not money in the current budget to do it. And the engineer is unwilling to cut this part of his budget to increase this line item of his budget and just do it. Given that he's not going to do that, we need to find another revenue source. And realistically, a bond is going to be the fastest solution so that we can actually address your problem. But there does have to be, at the same time, a commitment that this will not happen again. Because, you know, Ford Road and your residents, just as you have this need, I don't want Blair or another road to be in the exact same position, because there will never be unlimited funds. If the answer is, hey, you know, if money falls out of the sky, I'll pave your road, then we're never going to keep up with paving. We have to have a commitment that we are never going to be in this position again. And I believe that working together with the engineer's office, we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again while working with all due speed to address your issue. But the only person who could literally today say, you're right, this is so time sensitive, let's just do it today, there's only one person with the legal authority who could actually make that decision, and that's the county engineer. But given that he has stated, I'm not going to move money from one of my budget lines to another, I'm not going to do that, the commissioners have been working together to try to find a way to create a financing plan so that we can move on these mission critical, very time sensitive projects like Ford Road, at the same time making sure this never happens to another group of residents again, because we care about safety. We care about not just that, but your convenience too. You are taxpayers. You shouldn't have to drive all over the place to get from point A to point B. We're not the county engineer, but we will push the county engineer, and we will work with the county engineer to help him get there faster.
I appreciate it. It just seems like, I mean, I run a business in Lake County, and if I ran my business like I see the road crews, you know, 5 and 6 guys and 4 or 5 vehicles, I'd be out of business in a week. So that's certainly something that I guess we should address the engineer with, and I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thanks for your time.
Jason, did you want to give a little background on, I'm hesitant to say the priorities, but there seem to be 3 specific projects that have risen to the top that can be readily addressed. Would you care to-
Yeah, I will certainly, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we obviously, I appreciate and have heard from the residents' perspective and totally understand. From a staff perspective, myself, Finance Director Matus, the commissioners, Commissioner Regovich is not here today, but we've seen the list from Engineer Gills. I think there was 12 to 16 projects that he has presented, and having some conversations. This is staff conversations. This isn't elected officials conversations on, I'll call them tranches, Commissioner Hamercheck. There appears, you know, there's 3 main tranches of projects. So from a staff perspective with Director Matus, Mr. Gills, once again, this is preliminary. The Payne Road retaining wall and culvert, that can be bid out in the fall of '23. The Ford Road Bridge, under design, could be bid late this year, early next year. And then Williams Road slope failure, which we heard about a few weeks ago, also can be bid yet this year. We have focused as a staff on how do we get the dollars for those. Ma'am, to your point, it's great to have a comprehensive plan, but we have things right in front of us. That's kind of been the tack that we've been working on with the Commissioner's blessing. That rough order of magnitude is about $8 million right now. We are trying to come up with a means and methods by which the county commissioners, general fund, et cetera, how do we begin to initiate the financing plan to get those three, that first tranche started? And then to Commissioner Plechnik's point on then put in a comprehensive plan for those probably 2 to 3 other tranches of projects so that we have addressed the short-term needs of those 3 projects in y'all's neck of the woods. And then to Commissioner Plechnik, make sure that we're not in that point again. So that if the commissioners can finance over the first, maybe next couple years, if it's a cash finance on Williams Road, let's say, and then we bond the other ones, we'll figure that out. But I appreciate Commissioner Plechnik or Hammercheck giving me the ability to talk about this. I think this first tranche, we are really close, and I'm sure you're tired of hearing that, but it's $8 million that we have to have a piece of paper, which we call an auditor certificate, that says that is there. And that's what we've been working at from a staff perspective under the guidance of the commissioners and Mr. Gills, and we're pretty darn close. I know Commissioner Regovich would echo this statement. So I think long-term objective is to fix them all and not have it happen again, but let's get these 3 tranches started, and I think we're pretty close. And Commissioner Hammercheck, I hope I've reflected.
You did, sir, and I hope that the audience appreciates Jason's diplomatic skills in addition to being administrator. This young man is a tremendous asset. We often pat him on the back, but the last darn thing I want to do is have a workers' comp claim where we broke his back. So
No. And
it's not easy, Jason.
It's not. I mean, we're damn close to figuring out the financing. And I was sitting back there hearing and agreeing, quite frankly, with what everybody was saying, and like, man, we are so close. So let's get these first 3 tries. I've spoke to Mr. Gills a week or so ago, finance director. Matus spoke with Mr. Gills, and he's a wizard. Mike is a wizard. He's not here a lot, but we'll figure it out. I know there's been some debate on, do we pay cash? Do we bond? We'll figure. I think we're close to figuring that out. So I appreciate the commissioner's willingness to let Mike and I work with Mr. Gills and Tracy, et cetera. Hopefully, the Township Trustees Association, I know they've expressed their interest via letter, which is great. We have a great relationship with Chairman McIntosh. I have a great relationship with the administrators in the townships. I've tried to keep that open line of communication with them as well, and we'll get to moving on these. So, any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, I think good. Jason, thank you, though, for adding that. So is there anyone else we should address the board at this time? Okay, do have a clerical correction. If I say this wrong, it looks like item number 11, which currently reads resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general fund accounts. It should be amended, we'll get to the formalities of the proper amendment. It should be amended to resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general accounts. So I'm going to look to legal and say, sir, what would be the proper procedure to make a motion to, as I had just indicated?
Move to amend item 11.
Okay, so move to amend item 11 to reflect the language so stated, adding and non-general fund accounts?
Correct.
Second.
Thank you. Under discussion, there was a clerical error. We failed to catch it till just now, so just want to make sure that we're putting a nice bow on everything.
So you moved and you seconded?
Yes. And Madam Clerk, you've captured that, so it'll be updated.
We need to vote.
Yes, but I just want to make sure that you've got it all under the discussion and legal, you're satisfied that what we're doing is 100%. We've checked off all the boxes.
And it's just the caption that we're...
Just the caption. Okay, if there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes, and thank you for your indulgence. It's just easier if we fix it right now before we move on, because we don't want to wait a year. Yeah. All right, well, I do not believe there's any other business to come before this board. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes, thank you for joining us today. This meeting stands adjourned.